It's that time.
Good for him. We'll call to order tonight's Committee of the Whole for the September 2nd, 2025 Auburn City Council meeting. The City Council has the minutes from our August the 19th Committee of the Whole. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? If not, is there a move to approve?
So moved.
Motion is second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the minutes are carried forth. Any questions on tonight's agenda, specifically on the agenda tonight for the city manager? Any questions? City manager, anything for us related to
I don't have
tonight's
anything, Mayor.
agenda? Okay. Mr. Griswold?
Well, thank you. The Auburn Opelika Tourism Bureau has done tremendous work for our city, and they promote us, coming and going. In this particular budget, they are being funded in excess of $700,000 in addition to whatever Opelika provides. And that's based on an ordinance 2356. It was way back in December of 2005. So I just, what they get right now is 1/7 of our local lodging taxes. And so they're going to get an ever-increasing amount as our rental revenues and increase over the years. So basically, you have an ever-increasing tax baseline. I would like the council to consider having a briefing from the AO Tourism Bureau so that they can detail their needs and their benefits to the city. I'd like that to happen at a future committee of the whole. This is not a proposal to change the budget that is under consideration tonight, but I believe after 20 years, it may be time for us to take a look at treating them like other outside agencies. We just looked at a 20-year update for the solid waste fund. We looked at a 20-year update on the salaries for the city council. And this is a December 2005 ordinance. I just suggest it may be time for us to take a look at that as well.
Okay.
So a future meeting is what I'd ask the council to consider.
Well, I certainly agree with you, Mr. Griswold. They do outstanding work. Much of what they do is probably not recognized or understood within our community. I do sit on their boards. I know firsthand the efforts that they are making to attract visitors to our community. A lot of things athletically, particularly with children, gets recognized and noticed, but they're also doing all kind of works behind the scene. I think in particular what goes on at the Auburn Hotel and Conference Center, they have touched a lot of those visitors that are spending nights in those rooms and eating and having banquets in those larger facilities. So I am thankful. If you look at our budget, we've got budgeted over $5.5 million of revenues that come from hospitality lodging over the next couple of years, which is sizable and certainly meaningful for this community as we consider providing the things for our citizens that they want and frankly need. So I agree with you that they do an outstanding job and certainly appreciative of them. Council, anybody have a thought or comment regarding the request to potentially have a briefing and to evaluate the methodology that is 20 years old as we sit here today? Any comments on that or questions? City Manager, 2005 was all before any of us were sitting up here, so do you recall what set the tone for that decision that was made in 2005, the funding mechanism and how it was decided upon?
I think it was a collaborative effort. I was definitely in the audience when these meetings were going on as a staff member, but would not have been involved at this level. So there was a lot of collaboration going on about a local lodging tax versus just the state allocation that is also a funding mechanism for the Auburn Opelika tourism folks. However, there were some decisions made. The lodging tax would impact the city positively, which it obviously has. And so I do know that the funding was slated per the ordinance for operations. And so that is about all that it says. It was adopted in December of 2005 and became effective in early 2006.
Okay. All right. So, Megan, one of the things we have not done traditionally with this council is allowed agencies, entities, organizations that we have funded to make wholesale presentations as part of our meetings. Mr. Griswold is asking for a briefing and asking for that to happen. Just as our city manager, your thoughts on creating that type of precedent as we move forward?
I think that the difference with this is there's an ordinance that exists that provides significant funding to an agency. This ordinance is something that you're bound to do regardless of the budget. It was adopted in 2005, and there it stays. And I think you have every right to ask an agency to come speak to you. It's when we get various and sundry groups that want time in front of the council for various reasons. The council's not asking them, they're asking you, and I think that is the difference here. This is an agency that we have a nexus to. They do great work in our community, and there's also a funding mechanism that comes directly from lodging taxes. So if you want to talk to tourism about all that they do and learn more about that and study that as part of how this funding works and what it's going to, I think that's very appropriate and is one-off. It's not a precedent.
I think obviously the difference also is that there's already a mechanism in place. They're not requesting.
No, they're
funding
explaining to you what's going on
They're
with their
explaining
agency. That's correct.
Which I believe.
At
that-
your request, if the majority of you
Absolutely.
request
Excuse
that they
me.
do so.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay. All right, any questions from anybody else regarding this particular decision as far as having a briefing?
I think the Tourism Bureau does an excellent job, and I certainly think they earn whatever they get. I've been very impressed with the way they operate. I've known them for years, and had a lot, actually hosted some conferences here from the narcotics division for a statewide conference we have here some. And they were just excellent people to work with, and so I certainly think they're doing a great job. However, I certainly would never vote against one of the council members wanting to have additional time to talk, just listen to what. I think it'd be very interesting, actually. I think we'd be very impressed. What they had to say.
Anyone else?
So my question is, and I support always learning more about anything, and I echo everyone. Tourism does a great job. They advocate on the behalf of the community, and we are a great benefactor of their work. So is the committee of the whole the best forum for that type of briefing, or is it a different type of forum? That's my only question.
Sure. And Kelly, would you have an answer for that? You requested committee of the whole, but if there was another like work session or information set up as a side, as another meeting, would you be okay with that?
Well, I'm sure I'd be happy to have another work session, but again, that's another whole meeting. We got to gather all the council together. We're already here for a committee of the whole every other week, so I believe we could probably find a way to fit that in without having to hold a special meeting. And again, I'm fully supportive of the Tourism Bureau. And in fact, I spoke with Robin's back there. I spoke with her today about the Bureau and understand the benefits to the community. But I want to figure it out a little bit better because, like I said, 700K is a pretty big number, and it's going to always be increasing. So I just like to hear more.
We hope so.
Either format is fine with me.
Yeah, okay. Any thoughts, council? This isn't a hard decision for us to make, so let's just, all right, why don't we set time at a committee of the whole in the future? You're not necessarily saying 2 weeks from now, right?
No,
You're saying
we've got this budget to worry about right now, so.
we got things to do, so we'll set time sometime in the future. We'll try to get it done this fall. How about that? Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, all right, good enough. All right, anything else from council has questions for the city manager? Okay, is there a move to adjourn?
So move.
All right, we are adjourned to committee of the whole, and we'll move right in to our regular meeting. I'll call to order tonight's Auburn City Council meeting for September the 2nd, 2025. And with the roll call, Lindsay.
Adams.
Here.
Koblenz.
Here.
Dawson.
Here.
Griswold.
Here.
Mormon.
Here.
Parsons.
Here.
Taylor.
Here.
Here.
Anders.
Here. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. It is the first meeting of the month, and we are proud now to introduce you to our Employee of the Month, as well as our other outstanding employees with their service awards. We're proud to introduce you to our September Employee of the Month, and I have a memorandum here from Matt Kane, the Fire Chief for the City of Auburn. It is with great pleasure that I recommend firefighter Cameron Olton for Employee of the Month. In his 2 years with Auburn Fire Department, firefighter Colton has not only demonstrated exceptional proficiency in his duties, but also has consistently embodied the core values that define our city and department. Olton's transition to the fire service following a distinguished military career speaks volumes about his character. While accustomed to leadership roles, his willingness to embrace the position of a rookie firefighter and learn from others showcases his humility and adaptability. He has approached every task with diligence and respect, quickly mastering the intricacies of his role. His prior military experience instilled in him a strong sense of discipline and a mission-oriented approach, contributing significantly to the successful outcomes of numerous incidents. Olton consistently exceeds expectations, demonstrating a commitment to excellence that extends beyond emergency response duties. He proactively contributes to equipment maintenance and apparatus readiness, meticulously ensuring trucks are fully stocked and prepared. His initiative in replacing dormitory walkway lights exemplifies his dedication to maintaining a safe and professional station environment. Olton's integrity and leadership are evident in his interactions. His willingness to share his knowledge and contribute to the professional development of others demonstrates his commitment to the success of the team. Olton exemplifies innovative and proactive problem solving, identifying a need for improved medical response during mass casualty incidents. He developed and delivered essential training on rapid response first aid in hazardous environments, mitigating potential threats and enhancing response effectiveness. Olton's exemplary performance extends beyond his valuable contributions. His leadership skills, dedication, proactive approach, and commitment to excellence make him a model Auburn Fire Department employee and deserving recipient of the Employee of the Month Award. Congratulations and thank you. We're pleased to recognize outstanding employees here at the City of Auburn with a Teamwork Award. And I have a memorandum here from Brandy Yazell, Engineering Services Director. I am pleased to nominate employees for Engineering Services, Police, and Communications for the City of Auburn's Teamwork Award. Their exceptional collaboration, commitment, and professionalism during the recent implementation of the pedestrian scramble at Toomer's Corner represent an outstanding example of cross-departmental teamwork and public service. Planning for this project began several months in advance. Teams from all three departments worked collaboratively to develop an implementation strategy that prioritized public awareness, ensured compliance with local and state regulations, and reinforced the safety benefits of the new crossing configuration. Cynthia Bean and Sydney Hancock from the communications team played a key role in outreach efforts. They implemented a multifaceted promotional campaign that included standard informational messaging alongside a creative and engaging rock theme video. The video was widely shared on social media and received enthusiastic responses from local residents and viewers from outside the area, an especially meaningful outcome as we welcome visitors back to Auburn this fall. In addition to these communication efforts, the team coordinated with the Downtown Merchants Association and Auburn University to host the World's Shortest Party on the Paw, a launch event that encouraged public engagement and community connection. The dedication of the engineering's traffic division was especially evident on the day of the implementation. In the early morning hours of July 7th, David Baker, Aziza Hurt, and Clint Sagas responded to an emergency call after a traffic signal cabinet on Glen Avenue was struck by a vehicle. They worked through the night to replace the damaged cabinet and restore full signal operations by 8 a.m., just in time to ensure morning traffic could proceed safely. As the launch event approached, employees from the police department joined forces with the engineering and communication teams to finalize preparations and manage the live transition. Ty Yancey, Liam Callahan, and Jordan Shealy worked tirelessly in the summer heat to direct vehicles and pedestrians while the traffic signal was being reprogrammed. Chad Jones and Justin Lockhart joined the team's coordinated efforts.
Once the new signal pattern was activated and the event concluded, staff from all 3 departments remained on site to answer questions, guide pedestrians, and ensure a smooth adjustment. In the days that followed, officers continued to patrol the intersection to ensure compliance with the new no right on red restriction. The success of this initiative is a testament to what can be achieved through effective teamwork. Throughout the project, the teams demonstrated the City of Auburn's core values in action. They demonstrated respect, integrity, and reliability, and most notably, professional excellence as they collaborated across departments to achieve not only a successful emergency response, but also the flawless delivery of an innovative infrastructure upgrade that benefited the community at large. It is with sincere appreciation that I nominate the employees of the Engineering Services Department, Police Department, and Communications Team for the City of Auburn's Teamwork Award. Congratulations to all of y'all, and thank you.
Congratulations to firefighter Olton, as well as Mr. Jackson with his service award, and Dow Sport, certainly all the best to you as you go into retirement. And to all of our employees who were there that day, thank you for making something so simple, so fun, and so meaningful. And I'm guessing we're ready for our first home football Saturday, right? Does everybody know to push the button and stop, and we'll see. Okay, hopefully we'll help them with that. But anyway, always proud of our employees. During the committee of the whole, there were no items to add or take away from our agenda, but we did have a discussion about a briefing from our AO Tourism partners as to what's going on with their department and how that impacts the city, and we agreed that we would schedule that for some time in the very near future with a goal of getting that done this fall during the committee of the whole. As far as announcements, I want to say thank you to everybody that was involved with the grand opening of Pearson Park a week ago yesterday. I thought it was a very appropriately planned and well put together, and I just appreciate everybody's efforts. I want to thank our builder who built the park and all the folks who oversaw that construction. I personally spent about an hour out there yesterday, and I believe it's going to be a beautiful asset for our community. Certainly we're grateful to Auburn University and the Real Estate Foundation, grateful to the Georgia-Alabama Land Trust, and grateful to the Waltos family who, again, as still relatively new members of our community, have again done something beneficial and kind to make Auburn a better place, and I'm certainly grateful for that. So if you haven't been out to Pearson Park, I encourage you to go see it soon. I want to thank the members of the advancement team at Auburn University. I recently spoke to their annual advancement summit. This is over 200 individuals who are on the front lines of talking to interested parties about what goes on in our city. You don't think about the messages that they are presenting to people who don't live here amongst us, and they're a great group of people. I appreciate the invitation to be a part of what they're doing and to be able to speak to them. Blessing on the Corner is this Friday morning, first thing, the Chamber of Commerce event every year as we ask for God's blessings upon the start of the academic year as well as the big football season, and it's a free event if you'd like to come out first thing on Friday morning. Thursday night is the 100th anniversary, 100th game of Auburn High School and Opelika High School. It'll be played this year at Bulldog Stadium, and but what a special celebration of young people in two great school systems that have been supported by their communities now for a century, playing their 100th game, and look forward to being a part of that on Thursday night at Bulldog Stadium. I want to remind everybody the announcement has come out recently that the State of the City is Thursday, October the 2nd. This will be at the Gooch Performing Arts Center at 5:30. This is a free event to our community, and I encourage you to participate and watch and be a part of that as we talk about what the city has accomplished and where we're going in the future. And I will be recognizing 5 individuals with the Mayor's Lamplighter Awards, 5 people who are quietly going about doing great work to benefit our community. We also look forward to the groundbreaking of the new tower at the airport. This is a goal of Auburn University's airport for many, many years. That groundbreaking is coming up soon this Friday, and we're excited about that. It'll make Auburn University's airport much safer. And we'll remind everybody that the university's homecoming is not this Saturday, but the next Saturday, and that will include a parade on Friday afternoon. So those of you that are meandering around Auburn on Friday afternoon before the South Alabama game, remember that there'll be an early close and it'll be difficult to try to find your way around, so plan accordingly for the Friday before homecoming. And then finally, I want to say congratulations to my friend Eddie Smith, who was recently elected as the mayor of the city of Opelika. Eddie has been a known commodity in our communities for a long time. He's been a banker in many places around Auburn and Opelika, and he'll do an excellent job, and I look forward to serving on boards with him and working with him as he leads Opelika into the future. All right, anyone else?
Yes, I have an announcement to make.
Yes, ma'am.
You made all those good announcements, Mayor, but I want everybody to keep Bishop Nolan Tarver in their prayers. He lost his daughter this morning, and so I'm asking everybody to pray for him, his wife, and his family. It's a sad day because Bishop Tarver is an icon in the community. And so if you know him and you know him well enough, just go by and give him your condolences and your prayers.
Thank you, Connie. It's very sad. Anyone else? Okay, we'll move ahead with Auburn University Communications.
War Eagle, guys.
War Eagle.
Good weekend going on.
Yes, it was.
Good start. Hopefully this weekend we keep it up. But my name's Josh. I serve as SGA's Directors of Governmental Relations with External Affairs. I'm filling in for Jack and Evelyn today. Just a few things that Evelyn gave me to report to y'all. So 2 weeks ago, top 5 for homecoming, Miss Homecoming were announced, and those will be announced at the South Alabama homecoming game. And the candidates are Ashley May, Kaylee LaPont, Julia Wright, Abby Grace Stevens, and Mallory Holland. And then SGA lobby board applications and freshman forum applications close on Friday. Interviews for those will conduct at the starting of the end of this week. And that's all from me. Hopefully I'll see you guys again. But yeah, hopefully this homecoming game goes great and Miss Homecoming will be announced and it'll be awesome.
Thank you very much. Okay, this time we'll turn over to citizens' communications on items on tonight's agenda. This is only related to items on tonight's agenda. There are a couple of items, item 9A and item 10A, that have a public hearing attached. If you'd like to speak to the council about either one of those items, we'd ask that you wait until that time to speak during the public hearing. But if you'd like to address the council on any other items, now would be the time to come forward. And we just ask you to come forward and give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have 5 minutes.
9C under ordinance biannual budget 26 and 27. Robert Wilkins, 261 Denson Drive, Auburn, Alabama. I attended all 4 workshops, budget workshops, totaling nearly 10 hours without having the proposed budget in my hand, but I still learned a lot. I'm foolish to think that the budget will change, but I am one of Auburn's voices. I learned how blessed we are with revenue and how careless we are distributing the audited revenue. This budget and past budgets are not for the average Auburn citizen. I plead that our citizens understand the lack of control over our city financials. I have never heard phrases from the mayor or council member or city manager like reducing the budget, reducing taxes, cutting upper staff members' numbers and salaries, excessive departmental movement of funds because of deficient control, and so much more. The E100 employees, city employees that make over 100,000, without our city manager at the top of the food chain, 250,000 with a $10,000 plus car allowance, wants to hire even more employees. We should help more citizens through our community service departments like daycare, seniors center, food pantries, food banks, homeless assisted rehabilitation houses, public services, wellness center, after-school program, community gardens, affordable housing. City of Auburn does a lot of good, but could redirect its millions of dollars from the overpaid bureaucrats, excessive vehicle inventory, and so forth to citizens' basic needs. Councilman Dawson thinks we should pay the E100s even more, which this budget is working to do so. But I agree with Dawson that you could never pay enough to our policemen and our firemen. Their families never know if they will even return. There are many good things in our budget, but the city needs to be better stewards of our money. Thank you.
Who will be next? Anyone else? Okay, we'll move ahead to city manager's communications.
Mayor, I do not have any communications this evening. Are you ready for the consent agenda?
Please.
Our first item of business is the consent agenda. Does any council member wish to remove an item from the consent agenda and deal with that item individually?
Anyone? Okay, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
All right, I have a motion is second. Any further questions, comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the consent agenda is approved. Ordinances.
Item 9A amends Article 4, General Regulations, Table 4.1 of the City of Auburn zoning ordinance to expand commercial uses that may be allowed conditionally in the rural zoning district. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of this item with the condition that the uses be located on an arterial or collector road designated by the city or another appropriate governing body. Unanimous consent is necessary and a public hearing is required.
I'll introduce the ordinance and ask for unanimous consent.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. At this time, excuse me, does anyone have a problem moving forward with a vote on this evening? Seeing and hearing none, at this time I'll open the public hearing. If you'd like to address the city council, please come forward and give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have 5 minutes to speak to the council.
Robert Wilkins, 261 Denson Drive, Auburn, Alabama. We citizens request that this ordinance vote to be postponed for 90 days or deny unanimous consent. There's so many unanswered questions. This could be spot zoning, but the courts have said that this terminology was a little ambiguous. But it reminds me a little bit of Ordinance 3288, short-term rental, where you can discriminate against one neighbor while the other one can do a short-term rental. Several council meetings, it has been stated that we do not have the proper sewage capacity in rural areas. Is the council way of trying to encompass all the 744 parcels through providing leniency to pay for the needed sewage connections, or what? Have all the Auburn citizens that would be effective in these rural areas been contacted? Who are the stakeholders who created excitement among Auburn city staff while reviewing PUD, planned unit development criteria for this meeting and their positions in the community? Mayor Anders, the city council members, and the city managers have an incredible appetite to devour the rural land surrounding Auburn and feeding this insatiable Auburn revenue machine. Please postpone rural conditional uses on the 744 parcels for 90 days or deny unanimous consent. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll close the public hearing. Any comments or questions from the council?
I have one.
Please.
Thank you. All conditional use requests would come before the Planning Commission and the City Council, is that correct?
That's correct.
And anything that would be proposed by this item tonight would have to come as a conditional use.
That's correct.
That's-
Anything marked C in the table 4.1 permitted uses and is in your ordinance, if it's C, it's conditional. And also that means, Councilman Mormon, I think, and you may be headed there, you have to have adequate utilities and other things to meet the needs of that use. You can't just put a use on a lot that can't handle it. So even down to a septic tank, it has to percolate, or we've got issues, you can't get a permit for it. So most rural areas do not have city sewer available. They would be on septic tank, but there are things that are more in town that are on septic tank too, periodically, if we don't have sewer available.
Are all the uses in Table 4-1 conditional uses?
No,
Or
sir.
are they
You
by
mean for
right?
this use or uses in general? What you're considering tonight?
Well, I saw some annotation there of R and C, and the Rs look like headings more than actual uses. So I guess my question is, what is allowed by right in these rural zones?
So if you're referring to this that's in your packet, the ordinance, the R stands for a rural zone because it's at the top of the table.
Oh,
And
okay.
the C is for conditionals. It's carrying, because normally it goes across the top of the whole page, all the zones, and so this is just a summarized version of it. And then if you see the SDS, that's, if it has a X box by it, or the box is marked, that is special development standards it has to meet in another section of the zoning ordinance, should it proceed.
So no uses other than conditional really are being discussed
Correct. That's
Or
adding
allowed.
those uses that aren't currently allowed in the rural zone and now allowing them conditionally if they meet certain conditions. There are permitted uses in the rural zone like feed and seed store and some other things. I'll have our planning director speak to that already exist. That this would be to allow additional ones, but conditionally, because say you take the planning commission's recommendation of it needs to be a busier road, and I think it's right in the middle, and some of you've dealt with in Councilman Dawson's ward, we have rural event centers that go on, and we might in Mayor Pro Tem Winton's ward, and that was a big discussion of the council at the time to allow an event center in essence out adjacent to people's property. Sometimes there's 2-acre lots and your neighbors are close, and so the goal of adding them conditionally is the council gets to review all that as planning commission does, and if somebody wants to put a brew pub and all of their neighbors come out and say, this isn't a good thing and this is why, and it's going to create an issue. You get to look at all of that at the then time. Justice, you may have some more uses that are already permitted out in the rural area.
No, pretty much. I mean, everything is just, you got a lot of conditional uses that are agricultural support. I mean, really the only permitted uses that you have in rural are tied to residential. And so this was really just kind of an
So
expansion.
even a feed and seed is conditional.
Correct.
Yeah.
And the uses that are proposed to be conditional in this ordinance, would you estimate that they would be intense uses?
No, these these are designed to be low intensity uses. That's why there's a cap on square footage. There's also, by putting this in rural, they're kind of self-limiting from the constraint on utilities out in these areas.
And also you're recommending convenience store, but not the gas that goes with it. It would be a
Correct.
3,000 square foot and down. The one thing that's out there, the all others, do you want to explain a little bit about that and why that has to be included as opposed to excluded?
Yes, and so that's a great point. So we purposely put that under all others under commercial and entertainment. And so that's not all others of all other uses that encompasses the rest of the zoning ordinance or the rest of the uses table. It's just all other commercial uses just because we may not think of what some people may want to do. And so instead of it not being allowed and then having to come back with another text amendment or something, we'd rather just kind of the all other uses as long as it fell under the commercial and entertainment designation in the use table.
Yeah, if it's not specifically already in there and it doesn't have a conditional by it being recommended by the staff, it wouldn't be allowed. The all other are things that don't currently exist in the table. So the North American Industrial Classification System, the NAICS codes, are what we use to define those uses. Those are also tied to our business licenses and how uses are defined. But people can come up with, you can say, well, pickleball courts years ago, nobody knew what those were, but that's a trend. And I'm not saying anybody's trying to put them out there, but as an example of we can't always anticipate. So this gives you the choice at the end of the day of whether or not a use could go out there.
So it adds some flexibility to, without having a hard no
Yeah,
for,
correct.
for
And
applicants.
use variances are not allowed to go to the Board of Zoning Adjustment. This is the only arbiter of uses as the table of permitted uses in the City Council and Planning Commission in their review of conditional uses.
I wonder if we've kind of jumped into the details without stepping back. I enjoyed very much watching the June 12th, I think, Planning Commission deliberation on this item. I wonder if Director Cotton could give us a quick overview for those who may not have seen that meeting and that discussion as to how we got here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, certainly. Thank you. So we had a stakeholder meeting for our PUD ordinance, and as you all know, that ordinance was kind of drafted to have creative uses in creative places, not a lot of constraints associated with it. What we got in that meeting was, well, if this is what's going to be offering where we can locate these in different places, and at the time we were just kind of talking about this could go anywhere in the city without the current constraints that are approved in the ordinance. There was a lot of interest in, can we locate these in rural areas and can we have small scale commercial ones? And we were like, well, why do you want to do that? And they're all saying, well, we have a lot of interest from guys who they want to take advantage of these intersections. These are high traffic areas. There are plenty of places in town that now, instead of these being these rural outposts where there's not a lot of traffic, these are major thoroughfares for people coming in and out of the city every day where they'd like to locate at some of these areas. And so our idea was, do you really want to go through a 6 to 8 month process of the PUD ordinance, or is this something that might be more applicable to have a conditional use to look at on a case by case basis for different places in town that might make sense, that might be at some of these intersections or along these high traffic corridors and roadways? And so that was kind of the catalyst for us looking at it through a different lens beyond the PUD ordinance. And when we looked at it and kind of brought this to Planning Commission in its first iteration, it was, well, we'll just add this as a conditional use in the rules section. Some of them thought that was a little pervasive. You have entire neighborhoods that are rural. People didn't want that their neighbor within a neighborhood to be able to do it. But they thought, well, maybe we can put some constraints around this, just tied to road traffic, these intersections. Can we see arterials? Can we see collectors? What does that look like? And so we put together the maps that are the exhibits associated with this item, and that's how we got to the condition of must be in along a arterial or collector roadway. And then also we put the condition on with a lot of the rural zoning district just kind of being outside where we have our major street plan, or some of those lands not being annexed. So already that's why the condition is there for any governmental body outside of the city. I guess an appropriate governmental body outside of the city would be able to designate a collector as well. So that kind of encompasses all the roads kind of around the city from a classification standpoint. So like I said, it was a lot of thorough thought. A lot of this came from input that people that we deal with, kind of pointing out that there's a lot of interest along taking advantage of these intersections and these arterials and collectors and looking at the high traffic areas. And then just kind of the feedback that we got from the Planning Commission that they didn't like it being so open to everybody in these rural neighborhoods, that they wanted it along these high traffic corridors. So that's why you see the condition associated with it.
Thank you.
Mr. Cotton, is it too easy to say that if we were to allow some of these, that we would have citizens that would be stopping to go to the store, stopping to do whatever their need might be, as opposed to traveling all over the city and, I don't know, potentially creating traffic, exasperating traffic along the city if they could just stop somewhere near their house and pick up whatever they might be picking up.
That is correct. And so this is a continuation of the intent to provide amenities and allow amenities to locate in proximity to rooftops. And like I said, kind of the shift in demographics of Auburn, of where we've gotten a lot more rooftops in our rural designation areas than we thought. We have entire rural subdivisions, places that are high traffic corridors that from our zoning district is just exclusively rural. But now, just kind of with the traffic that they're seeing, they kind of embody much more of a commercial corridor in some of these aspects. And they're not, but they don't really meet the standards of a high traffic area like a Hamilton or Ogletree or, Donahue and Shug or something of that nature. It's just much more just kind of the daily commuter traffic in and out in some of the more rural areas. And so it would be providing amenities in a lot closer proximity to some of those people who live in the rural outposts and the fringes of town.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Director Cotton, if we, or I guess city manager more appropriately, if we just didn't think it was a good fit, if they came before the council and we just thought it wasn't a good idea, on what basis would we make that decision? How would we deny
The
that
basis
request?
that is outlined in the zoning ordinance, and remind me, Justice, is it's Article 8?
Hold on, let me pull this up.
It's outlined. I mean, it's health, safety, welfare, but it can be a nuisance. You have to decide. You've turned down some conditional uses in recent time and stated very succinct reasons. If you can't mitigate it with landscaping, traffic improvements, what have you, and that was the challenge for those council members that dealt with the rural event centers. There was a lot of very robust, sticky discussion. Chadwick Lane was squarely in quite a heated discussion among both neighbors and council members about how that worked, and that's still a challenge. It's whether or not is it a nuisance or some sort of challenge for neighbors, and can it be mitigated or not, or is there a health, safety, welfare that's creating some major issue that could be an issue. I would recommend, if you do proceed with this, anytime that happens, we always vet legally, and all of you are very good about this. If you're not able to get behind something, we usually talk to our city attorney about that and be sure that you're tracking with what the law says.
And some uses have, some people have approached you with various uses and you've turned them down in the recent past. Is that correct?
Yes, and we've also had people who have expressed the desire that would buy property and annex it into the city, but there was no means for them to achieve the commercial uses that they sought to put because they would have to pursue a use variance, which we had to say no for.
What are some examples of the people that you've recently turned down?
So I guess kind of the intersection of Society Hill and Moore's Mill, that was a topic of discussion of just, there was a lot of interest in, hey, there's several things at this corner that we'd like to do. Is this a possibility? And it's a hard no, just because the only things exclusively allowed out there are residential and dog kennels pretty much. And then I guess kind of when you go further out and some of the other areas where there are traffic, it's the same thing where they would, and I guess kind of the catalyst might be what the current owner may be doing. And I guess we've had input from some people in the community of, hey, is there anything that city can do about this? I know people may be looking to acquire this, but do they have an option to move forward with a different plan? And like I said, our answer always has had to be no, because it's only can be residential or dog kennel. And so just different intersections, like I said, just kind of at the fringes with Society Hill and Moore's Mill. Other places, kind of when we push further north, just kind of into the city, or out on the fringes on the north side of the city, but just kind of a lot of those major intersections where you got a lot of traffic coming into the city as the major corridors, just kind of from the rural sides of town.
Mr. Griswold?
Where would a grocery store fall in these, in this table of uses?
Not allowed.
Yeah, so not a grocery store, convenience store under 3,000 square feet. I just also want to add, we've had several, I think over the past 8 months, I didn't have any inquiries about pop-up farmers markets for I think my first year and a half, and then I've gotten several for along Sand Hill Road that people wanted to do them. And so in the pathway that we last left that conversation was petition in a community where they had to get a PDD amendment, and that has to go through Planning Commission and Council for that to be an allowed use, and then they'd have to go back with the actual plan to put that forward and then execute that and go back to Planning Commission and Council. So to answer your question, grocery stores wouldn't be allowed. It's just a convenience store under 3,000 square feet. There's just we've had other questions about pop-up farmers markets as well, just kind of happening.
But, all right, so it's conditional use for convenience stores less than 3,000, but a regular grocery store wouldn't come in as a consideration under,
No.
under all others?
No.
All others
No.
sounds pretty wide
It-
open.
It's defined, so what you're not looking at, and again, we're happy to share that with, Table 4.1 has a lot of uses defined in it. Funeral homes, garden supply, general merchandise store, grocery stores, hardware stores, none of that is allowed per what's being proposed, only the things with C by it. In other categories that are not commercial and entertainment, just to give you an idea, like commercial recreational use, the rural zone already allows conditionally an amphitheater, amusement park, fairground, miniature golf, driving range, racetrack, or stadium or arena. That's already a conditional use that's long been allowed in the rural zone. This is adding, but you're right about all other uses, Councilman Griswold. If it is not currently listed in this Table 4.1, under commercial entertainment, which has a specific definition in the zoning ordinance of how one defines, which are mainly retail uses that you think of, then it could fall in the all others category.
Would a
There's no
larger
question.
thing, say Whole Foods or whatever, is that
It's a
count
grocery store.
as a specialty food store?
No,
Well, I mean,
not.
it's
No.
a separate, class of grocery store, obviously.
Yeah, a separate thing, and I think also just kind of for everybody here, and I guess for the audience, this is one of those things, kind of a self-limiting factor that doesn't need to be written in. Something like that wouldn't seek to locate out in this area. They wouldn't have the utilities to locate out in this area, and they probably wouldn't be able to meet the special development standards. Something of that intensity we would push to locate somewhere else and not in these areas. So that's really one of the self-limiting things of allowing the flexibility in the rural zoning district, and also this is really looking at kind of small scale destination commercial type deal, not something where this is going to be like a daily thing. So like a high intensity use such as a grocery store, like a Whole Foods or something like that.
Okay, thank you.
Is there an ability to add, maybe it's already written in based off of certain types of use, like acreage minimums that would be required, setbacks, buffering? Is that different in a rural zone than it would be in a CDD or
Yes, and so that's a great question. So we are currently looking at the special development standards. So we had an internal discussion with staff about how we'd want to handle that. For a lot of these, we already have special development standards in different zoning districts. I think we'll transfer that over to this or try to apply those to the site plans, though, like when they do come in. But the lot minimums for of 3 acres will still apply. This is not anything where you'll see people having half acre lots or subdividing to create half acre lots in the rural zoning district. The special development standards will apply, and I guess if we see fit that more special development standards are required to make these uses conform more and be more compatible with things around them, then we will do that. But there are special development standards associated with this.
So for rural, there's already, for commercial entertainment uses, they've got a maximum floor area ratio of 0.12, a maximum floor area ratio, impervious surface ratio of 30%, minimum site areas, all that's already built into the ordinance.
Okay, thank you.
As a basic, and he's saying that a special development standard, we may take it a step further and apply that to more uses. And that may be coming in the future if it needed.
So it'd still be a 3 acre minimum.
Correct.
But theoretically, you could have a lot that is in the city limits already, because it says 40,000 square foot in a different table. If it was a non-conforming lot, it still could be possible.
Yeah, so I do want to be clear about that. So we do have non-compliant parcels, non-conforming parcels that do annex into the city that do not meet the minimum. We've had 2.5 acre lots annex into the city, and they're automatically given the designation of rural. I guess that could happen in some places where we have non-conforming lots that do not meet the 3 acre minimum. They wouldn't be able to subdivide and get any smaller, but they could come into the city smaller than 3 acres. We have done that in the past.
Any other questions?
Yeah, this text amendment, it can be in no way characterized as spot zoning in my estimations. Is that correct?
That is correct. This is an amendment. Spot zoning would be if we were to go into the rural designation, willy-nilly and just drop CDD in the middle of an arterial, not at an intersection. And I guess also no mention in our prior plans, no mention in the strategic plan, comp plan, or anything. So there's no rezoning happening here. This is really just an amendment to a zone to allow conditional uses, not rezoning anything.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, Lindsay with the roll call?
Griswold,
Yes.
Mormon,
Yes, ma'am.
Parsons,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Witten,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Koblenz,
Yes, ma'am.
Dawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Anders.
Yes.
Item 9B amends the fiscal year 2025 budget. Unanimous consent is necessary.
Introduce the ordinance and ask for unanimous consent.
Second.
A motion and seconds. Anyone on the council have a problem moving forward with the vote on this evening? All right, hearing none. Any questions? Okay, Lindsay?
Mormon,
Yes, ma'am.
Parsons,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Witten,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Koblenz,
Yes, ma'am.
Dawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Griswold,
Yes, ma'am.
Anders.
Yes.
Item 9C adopts the fiscal year 2026 and fiscal year 2027 biennial budget. Unanimous consent is necessary.
I'll introduce the ordinance and ask for unanimous consent.
Second.
A motion and seconds. Anyone on the council have a problem moving forward with the vote on this evening?
Yes, sir. I would like to deny unanimous consent.
Unanimous consent. We'll bring this forward in 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. All right, resolutions.
Item 10A is a request for Purely Bowls for an outdoor cafe permit. It's from Purely Bowls, should I say, for an outdoor cafe permit for property located at 211 West Glen Avenue. An outdoor cafe permit was previously issued for this address, but there's been a change in ownership. A public hearing is required.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion second. This time we'll open the public hearing. If you'd like to address city council about this, please come forward and give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have 5 minutes. See, no one will close the public hearing. Any questions from the council?
Will there be, I noticed in the drawings in here, will there be any gating or fencing around this area like there is on Magnolia and College?
No, there is not. This is going to be just kind of as when they're open. This is not going to be a permanent installation. So really just kind of during their hours of operation.
And typically, if you're not serving alcohol,
Okay, that's the difference. Okay, gotcha.
yeah, there's a required, barrier for that. Yep.
Thank you for that clarification.
Good. Any other questions? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries.
Item 10B1 authorizes a contract with Hazen and Sawyer for the Town Creek and Moore's Mill Sewer Basins Sanitary Sewer Evaluation Survey, Phase 1, in the amount of $250,000.
Move for approval.
Second?
Have a motion and a second. Anyone on the council have a question or comment? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries.
Item 10B2 authorizes a contract with WW Compton in the amount of $418,412.50 for the public safety training site, electrical addition and alternates that include demolition of the buildings associated with the original rest area, installation of electric gate access, installation of a chain link fence, demolition of existing sidewalks and installation of new sidewalks to different training areas, and 2 72-inch ceiling fans for outdoor pavilions.
Move for approval.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any comments or questions from the council?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Please.
You know, we've received considerable number of requests for funding for this public safety center, and it's a fantastic addition and all. We had one in the consent agenda tonight, as a matter of fact, for 48,000 something, and this one's 418,000. Do we know yet what this whole thing is gonna cost us?
Yeah, I'll have Director Matthews go over that. The drafting pit, though, that you approved in the consent agenda is called out specifically in the capital improvement plan as a standalone project, as the other towers, drill tower and burn building and all of those things are called out separately and individually in that. But Director Matthews can talk to the Public Safety Training Center building itself and associated work, but we've got an aggregate total of all in or those individually or whatever you wish. Mr. Matthews.
Sure. Thank you for the opportunity to tell you about the training center. It's been a great addition and an asset for our department already for regional training. All in, if you look at phase 1, which was infrastructure, phase 2, which was classroom building, and then the training props, currently the budgeted amount is just over $6.25 million for everything. To date, after expenditures, we are $554,065 to the good in the black. And so what we're asking for is, these are some of the one-offs that we didn't include in the big project to begin with because we weren't sure at the time if we were going to have overages. And so the fencing, the gates, taking electrical to the training props on the training grounds, refurbing those, the pavilions that are on the training grounds. Those are some of the projects that we wanted to bring forward from the beginning, but we didn't want to chance the overages, and so they were separate and apart. So this is us going back and picking up some of those last-minute things to secure the facility properly and to make it more convenient and useful when you're on the training grounds without having to go over the hill to the classroom building. And it will still fall within budgeted funds.
Yeah, all those things are fantastic and very useful and needed. Sometimes we get nickel and dime, so to speak, on various big projects. You know, the public safety center, you know, one day we'll talk about the center, next day we'll talk about the furniture, next day we'll talk about something else. It would be beneficial when we first introduce a project. I know it's a swag, but it would be helpful to know, what's this thing really gonna cost us? I know we have to contract it in pieces, in increments, but having a big picture up front would be very useful.
Don't we get that information in the CIP report?
You do in the CIP, and Councilman Griswold speaking to what's hard is furniture, fixtures, and equipment, FF&E, and other things. And it bridges multiple fiscal years, and some hits the CIP, and some will hit capital outlay. And so we are happy to provide the council with the aggregate number. And one of the hardest things to nail down is design because it happens earlier. And so he let me know early this afternoon about this question, and that's what Stephen Krantz, who's our budget leader that's sitting next to Will. Stephen has this data at his fingertips all the time and pulls this for me on the regular, so we're always happy to provide that to the council.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries.
All right, those are all the items of business we have for you this evening.
Okay, at this time we'll open Citizens Open Forum. If you'd like to address the city council about anything, This is your opportunity to speak to the council. We'd ask that you please come forward and give us your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes, and please address your comments to the city council.
Robert Wilkins, 261 Denson Drive, Auburn, Alabama. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Why? Why have I been denied Solid Waste Management Fund financial records by the City of Auburn? All I have requested as an Auburn citizen is a 2-line item from the Solid Waste Management Fund, which the city is responsible for. One of the line items is salary and wages, and the other is employee benefit for the first 8 months of the fiscal year 2025. And I've also asked for the number of employees for each year of 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, and 2025. That's all I'm asking for. That's it. Instead of helping me understand the excessive deficit of the Solid Waste Management Fund, the Mayor Pro Tem tells me she is happy with the numbers. The overpaid city manager has decided to relinquish her responsibilities to Paul Clark, Auburn City Attorney, which will cost the city hundreds of dollars per hour to have him correspond with me. Why? Even my city councilman has not helped in this issue. What is going on? We citizens have the legal and moral right to know where every dollar is spent by the city of Auburn. Every dollar. We have that right. The financial information that I have requested from the city manager, director of finance, for example, is kind of like trying to make a chocolate cake. I've been given a box of baking soda, 5 pounds of sugar, 10-pound bag of flour, a pound of butter, a pound of cocoa powder, a box of salt, a carton of eggs, a half a gallon of buttermilk, and 6 ounces of oil, and a bottle of vanilla extract. But they won't give me the recipe. But they told me, we have given you all the ingredients. But I need the recipe. What the city manager and city council members are saying is we do not care about a citizen's concern, just your own. We as citizens have the authority and the rights through public records request to request any financial information. The 10 exceptions under the public records request do not apply to the request at all that I've done. In the annual comprehensive financial report, as within its pages, a leadership diagram where citizens are on the top, with the city council next, the city manager, and then the department heads. But the city has reversed the diagram. We citizens are on the cotton-picking bottom. I am requesting the Solid Waste Management Fund give the financial information that I've requested. Simple. Thank you.
Who'll be next?
My name is Jordan Van Horn, Jojo Van Horn, and I live at 299 County Road 88. I'm super nervous. Good evening, Mayor and council members. First and foremost, I'm here to express my gratitude for the time, the energy, the effort that y'all put in, along with our city employees, to do what's best for our community. Honestly, I don't know the fraction of what y'all do, but I imagine it's a relatively thankless job, so thank you. My wife and I moved here. We live out in the county on the west side of the city limits, kind of between Waverly and the Farmville area. We moved here 3 years ago after spending some time during COVID at Lake Martin. That's when we first started to frequent the Auburn Opelika community and really fell in love with what we found. So when we realized we can buy a modest house on some land out there on that side of town and still enjoy the amenities of the city, but have some peace and quiet in the county, we jumped on it. And since 2022 when we moved here, we've been very grateful and haven't looked back. Which is somewhat what brings me before you today. So as you can imagine, we were a bit surprised last month when we found out that a large timber tract bordering us, which is owned by an investment company in Atlanta, was in the beginning phase of working with some developers in Nashville to put in a high-density, mixed-use, kind of urban-style development that would start with a phase 1 of attempting to put 60 homes on 40 acres, but could potentially span up to 800 acres over the next few years if all goes according to their plans. And while I'm a proud supporter of development rights and free markets, as you can imagine, development of that size brought some concern to myself and some neighbors. And it's my belief that there's a time and a place for everything. And so something of that size in the county, outside the city limits, coming into Farmville off a dirt road, was a little bit concerning to us. But I have no real estate background. I had no idea what I could do. So a little Google searching, I realized that we're within the city's planning jurisdiction based on our proximity to the city limits. So since then, I've attended 2 council meetings, a city planning commission meeting. I've chatted briefly with a few members of the planning department. And since then, I've been nothing but impressed at the professionalism, the generosity of time, and the caliber of folks and the processes that I've observed. I've seen spirited debates about development. I've heard hard questions being asked. I've heard thoughtful questions being given. And I've seen multiple split votes on things, which to me is a good sign of a diversity of opinion working its way through the system. Don't get me wrong, I know not everything is perfect. I'm certainly not perfect. But I don't think the goal here is perfection. I think it's a commitment to slow, steady relational engagement and hard work for folks that are here in this community to do what's best for our community, protect what we love, and make incremental improvements where it's necessary. And I appreciate the work that y'all are doing towards those ends. I appreciate the work that our city employees are doing to those ends. I appreciate that you give a voice to a new guy to town like me to be heard. If they continue to make their progress, I'm sure you'll hear more from myself and my neighbors down the road. But in the meantime, thank you.
Thank you. Who'll be next? Okay, we'll close citizens open forum. Ms. Crouch, the particular development that Mr. Van Horn was mentioning, has that started through our system? Have we heard any?
No, that development is not eligible to start through our system. It's outside, it is in our planning jurisdiction, so it will have to do one piece with planning commission, but it is outside the optimal boundary. I will be happy to brief the council at another time about this. We're just beginning to look at this, and I will be very clear that staff shares the concerns about the impact to our city limits. This is out Lee Road 86. There are some design threats that are going to be going on in the local area. I don't know why they're being held in the city limits, and we have been clear that this property is not eligible for annexation. I mean, they can submit an application, but it is outside the optimal boundary. And so we'll be talking to you much more about this. This is likely still just a subdivision regulation item that will only reside with the Planning Commission.
Where is it again?
Out Lee Road 86 off of Farmville Road. He is Lee Road 88 that branches off of that. It's between Pear Tree Road and Waverly, but fairly close to Pear Tree Road, but again, still outside our planning jurisdiction. I think the council, it is appropriate to know, and based on your recent decisions, we have a number of parcels in that vicinity that are outside the optimal boundary that would like to be in the optimal boundary and in the city limits. We are not prepared with infrastructure in that vicinity because they are out of the optimal boundary, as we've recently discussed a ton. But you may start hearing from some folks about it, and that will certainly be up to the city council. But staff is working off the current plans that we have and the long-range plans that we made some time ago, and we are not prepared to accept large-scale dense development in this area at this time.
Anyone else have anything they'd like to say? Bear with me just for a second. This weekend is the beginning of football season. It's an exciting time for our community economically, for our small businesses, and it's just fun. And there are a lot of people that come to town that don't live with us and that are visitors, and they spend the weekend, and we welcome all of those visitors, and we look forward to them supporting our restaurants and our businesses here in town and having a great time. But something happened last Friday night that's happened before. And someone from another city, another county, came to our town and fired a gun, scared our citizens, created a demand for our police to find this person, arrest this person, and bring them to justice. And so my comment tonight is, if you want to come to Auburn and be a part of our community, we welcome you. If you want to enjoy the things that make Auburn great, you're welcome to come to our community. But if you come to our community and you question our safety and you threaten our way of life, then know that our police department, who has been provided the best technology that we can provide them, the best training through a new training complex, can provide them the best tools, and I am proud to be a part of a council that heeds the call when they ask for things and need things. Know that if you come to town and you create problems for us, and we have to come find you, that we will. And we will arrest you, and we will bring you to justice. Please don't come to Auburn if that's your intent. Okay? You're not welcome. Let us enjoy our football weekend. Let us enjoy our way of life here in Auburn. If your intentions are bad, go somewhere else. You're not welcome to Auburn. Okay. All right. Anyone else?
Well said, Mayor. Thank you for those words. And I'd like to thank the entire council for the support you give to our police division. It goes a long ways to keeping us safe, and y'all have certainly stepped up to the plate and provided the revenue for our public safety department, and I sincerely appreciate it. From an old wore-out cop, I appreciate what you do.
Thank you, Chief. And we do like the pink shirt. All right. Anyone else? All right, is there a move to adjourn? We're adjourned.